welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's Paula here. Not too long ago I rearranged all of my bookshelves, which yes, this is true, but all of them, because I had a lot of books that were piling up on my desk because I keep buying books. I'm trying to go into a semi book buying ban. I have a list of books that I am allowed to buy in bookstores, and then I'm gonna keep my subscriptions, but I'm trying not to buy as many books as I did last year, which honestly they were a lot. So I thought maybe to motivate me on my book buying ban, I can try and see how many books in my bookshelves I have that I have not read. So basically, how many books do I have on my physical TBR? This is gonna be sad. I feel like I keep buying books and I'm very excited to read them, but then for some reason I'm so excited to read them that I'm scared to start reading them, so I don't read them, and that is a problem. So one of my goals this year is to finally read all of the books in my TBR. I do want to say trying to finish all of the books in my TBR might be a bit too much of a big achievement for me to do. It might be too difficult, so I at least want to read all of the books that I have not bought this year, so 2024. And I did the book haul already, and you can see how many books I already got this year. So I definitely want to try and read those books that have been sitting here the longest time, which honestly I think I have books here that have been in my shelf since like 2019, since I was in high school. Yeah, so we'll see. Let's get started. Alright, so on my higher shelves, these are actually books that are either art related or that I've already read. So obviously I have all of my Harry Potter collection. I've read all of these. I read them when I was in high school. Don't support the author, but yeah, they're a big part of my childhood, so I still wanted to keep them. And then here, these are mostly art of books from Disney or illustrated books I've already read, but I have some like annotated or just fully illustrated, and then my K-pop album. So obviously none of these go towards my TBR. Second and third shelves, yeah, these are a lot. So Check and Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. I got it earlier this year. I have not read it yet. Happy Place, as you can see, I started reading it and I'm currently reading it, but it's still not finished, so it goes towards my physical TBR. Now these are the Percy Jackson special editions. I have read all of these when I was in high school, loved them so much. To Catch a God by Elizabeth May. This is an Illumicrate special edition. Now I do want to say I do have some books in my shelves that I have not read, but I will not include in this video because of the St. Martin's Press boycott that we're doing. So yeah, I stand by the boycott and I will not be showing these titles, even though I'm very excited to read them and I completely support the authors. So these are the ones I have not read from here, and then from here, that's where I have my classics. Little Women by Luisa May Alcott. I got this as a gift. I was gonna read it last Christmas, but then life happened and I was not in the right mental headspace to read about this family. So I'm hoping I can read it this Christmas. Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. I read one book by Charlotte Bronte. I loved it, and I now want to read all of the Bronte sisters books. So I have like a mini collection of unread books by them. I want to read them chronologically on how they were published, but so far I've only read Jane Eyre. Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. Villette by Charlotte Bronte too. Now I have these like editions of some Spanish books. My sister got it for high school. She was supposed to read it for her college entrance exam. She hated it so much, but I am very curious to read it because I don't tend to read that much of like Spanish literature. So this is El Cuarto de Atrás by Carmen Martín Gaite. Once again, a Bronte sister. I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is actually in my high priority list. I really want to get to read this in this month or the next one. Now, I don't know why I did this to myself, but I have a copy of Don Quixote de la Mancha by Miguel de Cervantes. For some reason, my mind told me if I can read the Count of Monte Cristo, I should read Don Quixote de la Mancha because it's one of the most translated books in the history. and it's Spanish. I feel like I should read it because they never made me read it in high school, which thank God, because I would not have read it in high school. But it's a thick one, this one. And the last classic that I have on my TBR is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I got this like last year. I still have not read it. Okay, now let's go to my general fiction and non-fiction. Honestly, since I don't have that much of a collection, I just mix them all together, which is fine. The Starless Sea by A.D. Morgenstern. My sister got me this book. I loved The Night Circus by the same author, and I really wanted to read this one. I haven't had the time. Honestly, I just have not reached to read it, so hopefully that will change. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I got this because I thought I want to be one of those girlies. I want to read this long ass book and I want to see if it affects me too. Yeah, ever since I bought this book, my life has gone a little bit downhill. I don't think I'm in the right mental state to read this. So hopefully at the end of the year or maybe next year, this is the one that I would not be too sad if I didn't read this year, because I feel like I need to take care of my mental health right now. So yeah. Artful by Alice Mead. Quite honestly, I have no idea what this is about. But I saw a post about it and I really liked the cover and I thought it might be interesting because I've never read anything by Alice Mead, but I kept seeing her books popping up, so. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Now, I've started this book twice already. First time I was reading this copy, I got quite far because like I even annotated parts of it. So let's say I read like this, and then in college I got it from the library. I got the audiobook, so I listened to it. I think I got like halfway through. I cannot seem to finish this book. So this is definitely one of the goals for this year, finish this book, because it is good. It is good and it's not triggering me so much, but I just can't seem to finish it. Good Material by Dolly Alderton. I actually got this earlier this year, so I haven't really had the opportunity to read it. It's quite a recent acquisition. Yeah, I'm very excited. I've read her non-fiction books and I really loved them. So, El Jardín Olvidado by Kate Morton. I'm gonna guess the English name is like The Forgotten Garden or something like that. I'll Google it. But this is actually not my copy, so I didn't buy it. I was not gifted it. This was a copy from my mom's. So I don't know if I am ready to read anything that was my mom's. But I have it here, so hopefully I'll get to read it at some point. Turning Point, 1997 through 2008 by Hayao Miyazaki. This is a non-fiction biography / memoir about Hayao Miyazaki and his thoughts while he was producing some of the movies by Studio Ghibli. I read the first one, it's here, and I loved it so much, but it talked more about the initial movies that the studio did, and I am more of a fan of the later ones, like Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke. Those are my favorite Studio Ghibli movies, so this covers those movies. I'm very, very excited to get to this one. Georgie All Along. I'm not gonna lie, this is an art, this is an advanced reader's copy. This came out last year, 31st January 2023, and I still have not read it. I actually won it in a giveaway. I kind of entered it thinking that I was not gonna get it, but then I got it and realized I was not that interesting in it. But it's my first ever ARC, even if it was not sent to me. So I really do want to get to read it. I just haven't heard great things about it. Bunny by Mona Awad. I've actually read Rouge by Mona Awad, and I thought it was weird, but it was interesting. I love anything that's like cultish in fiction. So really like that one. And this is the book that everyone recommends from her. I did start it, like, I started last October, I think. It was my like spooky weird read of the month, but I moved places while reading this, so I just, you know, I just stopped reading it. I kind of like stopped with the NF because I was moving. There were so many things going on in my life. I just forgot to pick it up. So, but hopefully I can read it this year. We'll see. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I love R.F. Kuang. I love her so much. But I have not been able to pick this up for whatever reason. I feel like there are other books that I'm more interested in reading. But this is also a very high priority in my list. So, She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. Now this is gonna be very, very embarrassing. I actually got so close to the end of this book. This is what I have left of this book. It's probably like 40 pages. I don't know why I never finished. Okay, I do know why I never finished it, and it's because I was reading this at the end of my college experience, I guess. And I was moving back home, but I was studying in the US. So I had to pack everything. I had to donate stuff, go through stuff. I had to get rid of stuff. And then I had to like take like 3 or 4 planes to come home. I don't know, I stopped reading it. But now I want to finish it, but I feel like I don't remember enough to just start again from like where I left off. So I might have to read it again. I don't know what I'll do. But I'm just so mad that I have so little left and I could just like take this off my physical TBR. Whatever. And the last book that I have in this row is Marina by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I was very interested in reading this. I got it in a bookstore and I was very excited because I was finally getting like a book written in Spanish at my local Spanish bookstore. Because usually I kind of like look through Spanish bookstores. They usually don't have a big English selection, so I never get to buy that much. But I was so happy because I was like, oh, this was written in Spanish, so I'm gonna find it at the bookstore. And it was a good experience because I never get to do that with most of my books. Yeah, so those are the second and third shelves. Let's go to the fourth and fifth shelves. Oh my god, I'm gonna be real. I went yesterday to the gym. And now my legs hurt so much. It was an actual effort to have to sit down on the floor. Anyway, okay, so let's go to my narrow bookshelf. So here I have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I actually got to meet Chloe Gong last year. She was so sweet and she was promoting her book Immortal Longings. I was very excited to read it, especially because I got the UK cover, which I personally think is beautiful. Why haven't I read it? Good question. I would also love to know, but yeah, that's just how it goes. Hopefully I get to read it. I might even wait because I think her new book is coming out this year. So I might just wait until the second one is out and just read them back to back. We'll see. I also have La Huella del Infierno by Lee Bardugo. This is Hellbent. I read Ninth House in Spanish 2 years ago and I liked it enough, so I wanted to follow up with the second book, but I had to wait until it was translated to Spanish. So because okay, here's the thing, if I read a book in one language, I want to grab the second copy in the same language because then they match, because I have books that they don't match and it annoys me so much. So like for example, wait, I have Carvel. I got it when I was in high school, loved it so much, read it in high school. And then last year in October, I was like, okay, I want to read the whole trilogy. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know there was a trilogy. I thought there was just one book. So I asked my aunt to get me a copy in English because I thought it would be the same. It's not the same. Oh my god. This is the English copy and this is the Spanish one. Tell me why they are so... Why? Anyway, so now I have to figure out what I want to do. If I want to get rid of my Carvel copy and get the Carvel copy in English. I don't know. Right now they have to be in like different shelves because I don't like putting them together and they don't match. But yeah, as I was saying, La Huella del Infierno by Lee Bardugo. I got this year, so it's not, you know, it hasn't been sitting on my shelf that long. Then this is also very embarrassing. I have Les Élus by Veronica Roth. This is The Chosen Ones in English. For some reason, me of 3 years ago was like, I'm gonna get a book in French because I want to practice my French. My French is absolute crap. It's so bad. I don't even reach a B1, but I was like, yeah, I can read a whole book. What? Anyway, I still have it here, and I do think I can try and read it. We'll see. I think I read the first page and it was alright. I could read it, but I don't know. I'm still counting it because I think I can still read it. But if at some point I realize that I cannot read it, I'm gonna take it off of my physical TBR, because why keep it there if I know I'm not gonna be able to read it? And then actually from the same author, I have Destinos Divididos, which I don't know the name in English for this, but it's the second book of Carve the Mark. I read that one in high school. I loved it. I loved it so much, but I read it from a borrowed copy. Like my friend, he was like, yeah, you can read it, and I read it and I loved it so much, but I had to give it back. Obviously it was borrowed. I loved it so much. And then the second one came out, because I read it before the second one came out. And I got the second one after a while, but then I didn't have enough time to read it because it was still during my senior year of college and I was very busy. And now I feel like I don't remember enough of the first book to read it, so I'm gonna have to read the first book and then read this one. But yeah, we'll see if it still stands, because when I was in high school, I loved the first copy of this book. I loved it so much. Okay, and then down here, I don't know if you can see, but I have my dystopian fantasy books. Hunger Games, read it, obviously. The Raven Cycle is still one of my favorite series ever. I love that series so much. Unfortunately, I only have the first book and the last book, and I think that is because I could not wait until the books got here, so I just read it on my ebook. And while I was reading on my ebook, I read the last one. I don't know. I only have the first and last one. We'll see. Hopefully I can finish the collection at some point. Oh yeah. The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I read this book when I was in high school too. Loved it so much. It got me back into reading for a while, but only the first book of the series was out by then, and I had to wait. And I waited a lot. My friend got me the second one, the Glass Sword, for my birthday. And by then I had forgotten everything that happened in the first book, so I couldn't read it, and I didn't. And now if I want to finish this one, I have to read The Red Queen again and read this one, and I'm not gonna read half of a series and not finish it, so if I like it, I will have to buy and read the other two. But we'll see. I hopefully I can read this one, and if I am sure that I will never read the series again, I might just give it away. And now I have, this is also embarrassing, the whole series of A Darker Shade of Magic. My mom got me this for Christmas because I was like, I want to go back to reading again. Can you like get me some books? I think these are cool. And I thought she would get me the first one, but she got me like the whole trilogy. I've never read them. I think I started the first one, but I didn't get too far. So hopefully I can do like a mini marathon or something and read the whole trilogy back to back. We'll see. Okay, and now the words are random bookshelf, because it honestly, it's a rainbow shop and it does have no organization whatsoever. Let's see. The Memory Police. I've always been so interested in this book because the cover, wow. Also, I think I got it in a second-hand bookstore and it was in such good condition and it was so cheap. I just got it, but I have not been able to read it. Creativity Inc. I studied animation and this was like a staple book that you need if you are interested in animation. So I got it and I started reading it. Damn, I got to page like 25 and I got bored. But that was in the time where I was not enjoying nonfiction that much. But now that I do, I'm hoping that I can read a little bit more of this, hopefully finish the book, because it's been sitting here since my first year of college, which was 2019, 2020, but I got it in the middle of the pandemic, so it was like 2020. Yeah. Once Upon a Broken Heart. Now I do have an excuse for this one, and I've heard so many good things about it. I want to just read the whole trilogy back to back, and I got the first one, and I I almost bought the second one, but I didn't, and now I regret that because I do want to have the second one. But I cannot buy the third one because they have not made this edition of the third one yet. So if I ever got it, it was like, it would be like first and second and then the third one. So that's very annoying. I'm hoping they will release the third book in this edition and I can just read it all back to back, but I definitely want to read this before the end of this year because I've heard so many people talk about this and I still have not read it. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweki Emesi. Let's just hope that's remotely close. This is very annoying. It's not a sticker. But yeah, I got this because look at the spine. I had seen a lot about this book and I was in a bookstore in an airport in London and it was like the biggest bookstore in an airport that I've ever seen and it was so nice. So I got this book because it sounded good. And also I wanted to read more books written by Black authors, so I picked this one and I started it. Yeah, I still have to. Oh my god. But for some reason I just did not finish it and I was enjoying it, so I don't know why I never finished it, but I want to get back to this one. I don't know if you can notice, but I soft DNF a lot of books, not because I don't like them, but because I just kind of forget that I was reading it, or I have something going on in my life and I don't have the time to read it, or just I lose interest a little bit in that moment in time. So hopefully I will fix that. Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I read Silvia Moreno Garcia's In the Dream House, so it was like her memoir. It's this one here in the corner, and I really liked it and I was like, okay, let me read her books. So I got this as a gift for Christmas. Why I have never read it? That's a great question. I would also love to know. I honestly don't know, but I really want to get to it this year, especially since she's coming up with a new book that sounds very good. So I kind of want to read a couple more books of her before that one comes out. The Restaurant at the End of the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. My boyfriend got me this for Christmas, so it's quite recent and I just haven't had the time to read it. No, my boyfriend, he knows that I liked K-pop a lot and I'm a big fan of BTS, so he got me Beyond the Story, which is like the BTS biography, and it's so big. It's genuinely so thick. But he got this to me last year in my birthday, but that was a very bad timing because my life, my emotional stability, my mental health went to absolute crap during that time, so I never picked it up. I'm hoping I can pick it up soon, but it is thick. It is very big. Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Don't know much about what it is, but again, trying to diversify my reads, so I got this one because it looks very good and I've heard people talk about this one a lot. So The Stationery Shop. I know this is a love story and it's very heartbreaking. I started reading it and then I got sad, so I stopped reading it because it was not the time for me to be sad. Hopefully I can pick it up this year. How Do You Live by Kensaburo Yoshino. I also started this book. I never finished it. It was just not the right time. I got this one actually because Hayao Miyazaki said that he was gonna make a film about this. So I was like, okay, I'll read it. He still hasn't come out with that movie, so I still have time to read it, I guess. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I've heard things about this author. I've heard really good things about her latest books, but the earlier ones, I've heard that they are slightly problematic a little bit, but this one has very good reviews. I know people really like it, so I'm excited to read it. But one thing I know about Mariana Zapata is that she writes slow burn. This is a 500-page book. How slow is a slow burn? Like, what do you have to write in a romance that's 500 pages long? I don't know, but I guess I'll see. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This was honestly an impulse buy. I really like the cover and I heard so many things about this whole series, so I want to read it. I need to be in the right space to read this kind of book. It's more literary fiction, following these girls and like this town, so I just need to be in the right headspace to be like, yeah, I can tackle this. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Seven. I got this in 2022 and I was excited to read it, but then I never picked it up. And now this author has shared her opinions on some stuff that I do not agree with at all. Apparently there's also like some stuff in the book that iffy to me, honestly. So I don't know if I've ever get to read it, or if I'll read it just because I have it on my physical TBR. I'm not sure yet. The stack is so big, you can actually see it here. Okay, I love that. And now I have another copy of Happy Place because it's the one that I got before I got that special edition. I'll probably give this one up, I'll donate it or something. And then here I've got Pachinko, also in my physical TBR since 2022. I think this is gonna be a very heavy read. This is historical fiction, so I have not reached to read it, but I really want to read it. Hopefully this year will be the year. And then I also have La realidad y el deseo by Luis Cernuda. This is a Spanish poet. I had to read this book for my college entrance exams when I was in high school. Honestly, I did not like poetry back then, and I still don't like analyzing poetry that much, so I never read it in high school. But now I do want to read it because I think he's one of the greatest poets that came out of Spain, so I really want to read it. And I cannot read this all at once because it's just heavy Spanish poetry, so I'm reading it bit by bit, and I'm like not even halfway, but it's there, you know. This is kind of what I've read so far. So I think these are all of the books that I have in my bookshelves that I have not read yet, not including the books that I've gotten from St. Martin's Press that I will not be sharing, but that I'm still counting. Let me take a second, I'm gonna count all of these and I'll be back. Okay, wow, my bookshelves look empty. There's one more book that I didn't talk about, and that is The Principle of Moments by Esme Yikemi Person, and that is because I'm currently reading it. I'm like so close to finishing it. I hate reading with the dust jacket, so this is just dust jacket. So let's pretend this is the book. So yeah, this is also my physical TBR, even though it's not gonna be there for much longer, but I'm still including it because I have not finished it. Let's do some quick math. Okay, so on my physical TBR, there are 47 books that I've just showed you. If I include the books that I do not want to promote here, that makes 51. So that means I have 51 on my physical TBR at this moment in time. I do have to say I started this challenge of reading my TBR earlier this year, like January 1st, that was my goal. So since January 1st, I've read 12 of the books in my physical TBR. So that means that so far I've read 12 out of 63 books in my physical TBR. It's getting there, that's almost a 20% of my TBR that I've read so far. Hopefully I can bring this number down. I really want to read all of these books, and I'm excited to read most of them. I haven't had the time or the energy to read this, so hopefully that changes this year. But yeah, this was the video. Please let me know if you've read any of all of the books that I've shown here, if you liked them or if you didn't. And maybe if you have any suggestion on which one I can start with, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, comment if you want. Thank you so much for staying in the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!